Welcome everybody to our short mini lesson on the distributive property and combining like terms. Today we're going to be combining like terms. So first of all, we need to talk a little bit about what terms and like terms are. So terms are parts of an equation. This is our equation that are being added or subtracted from each other. Sorry, my handwriting's not great on here. I'm going to fix that. So added or subtracted. Added or subtracted from each other. If we look at our equation, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms that are being added or subtracted. We have x, and we have 2x. We have 4, and we have -10. Those are our terms of our equation. Now, like terms are terms with the same variable parts, or what are called constants. So the same variable parts, what I'm talking about when I say that is if they have the same letter. A variable is a letter, so we're looking for the same one. So we have an x and we have a 2x. They both have x. So x and 2x are like terms. Or constants. A constant is a number that never changes or doesn't have a variable. Here we have 2, 4, and -10. So 4 and -10 are also like terms, because they both don't have that x or a variable on them. What a coefficient is the number in front of the variable. So the number in front of our letter. Now we only have 2 terms with letters, so the number in front of our letters, well, we have 1, that's a -2, right there. So coefficient is 2. And the other one's kind of tricky. If we have just an x, we can always put a 1 in front of any variable that's alone. So we have a 1. Those are our coefficients. The reason we can put a 1 in front is because 1 times x is still going to give us x. It doesn't matter. We don't need to put that there because we know that 1 times anything will give us the same thing. We sometimes just leave it x to make it easier on ourselves. The last one, constant terms, they are numbers without variables. So like we said up here, our constants are numbers without variables, and that's our 4 and 10, or -10. So the numbers without variables are 4 and -10. Now what we're going to do today is work on combining like terms. So we're looking for terms that have the same ending, either the same variable or they don't have an ending at all. So we have 7x plus -11x. Well, I see that they both have x's. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine them. And I combine them by just doing whatever it says. So it says 7 plus -11. 7 plus -11 gives me -4. But we also have to keep that x. So we just made 2 terms into 1. 7x plus -11x equals -4x. So we're making this easier on ourselves by combining multiple things into 1. Here I have 5 plus 2n plus 2. Well, I see an n, I see my variable, but I don't see any other variables around. So I know I can't combine anything with 2n. So 2n stays by itself, or stays like it is. What I can combine, though, is the numbers that both do not have a variable, 5 and 2. Now this says 5, and this says plus 2. So what I'm going to do is 5 plus 2, and that gives me 7. So simplifying this expression, we get 2n plus 7. Next one, we have 6y minus y. I see two y's, one right there and one right there. So I know that I can combine them. So 6y minus y. Remember, if there's nothing in front of our variable, we can always put a 1 there. So basically it's 6y minus 1y, or 6 minus 1. That gives us 5y. Our last problem on this side says 7w minus a negative 5 plus 3w. So I'm looking for the same endings. First I'm going to start with my variables. I look and see w. Do I see any other w's in my equation? Oh, we have one right there. So we always take what's in front of the second term. So I'm doing 7w plus 3w. So 7 plus 3 gives me 10. I keep the w, and I bring what's left down. So I have a negative, or minus, negative 5. Now if I see two negatives in a row, I know that I can make that a plus, or a plus sign. Make it positive. So my actual equation, or expression, is 10w plus 5. Okay, moving on to our next slide. I went too far. We have to simplify again, so we're going to combine like terms. So the first term that I see is I see a g. Now I'm going to look through my entire equation and see if I had another g. Oh, there's another one. So I know that I can combine these two. They're what are called like terms. I'm going to take what's ever in front of my second term. So right now I have a negative 4g. So 10g minus 4g gives me 6g. Now I got to see if I have any other like terms. Here I have a negative 6h. Okay, now I'm looking for another h. Oh, there's another h. I know that I can combine these two. So here I have a negative 6h plus 5h. Negative 6 plus 5 gives me negative 1, or negative 1h. Another way to write this would be 6g minus h. We don't need that 1 in front. We can have it, but we don't need it. Okay, over here I have negative p plus 3 plus 4p minus a negative 2p. So I'm looking for p's. I have one here, I have one here, and I also have one there. So if I want to just combine these two at a time, I can take negative p plus 4p. If there's nothing in front of my p, I can put a 1. So actually I have negative 1p plus 4p. So negative 1 plus 4 gives me 3p plus 3 minus a negative 2p. Okay, I'm going to look again, see if we have any more p's. We do, so I can combine these two. Now if you look in front of negative 2p, I have another negative sign. So I can take that and I can make it a plus. So now I have 3p plus 2p. 3 plus 2 is 5p. plus 3. The 3 is all alone, it doesn't have a like term, so we leave it all alone like that. 5p plus 3. Alright, if we're taking a look at this one, we have 15t minus a negative 9r plus 7r minus 6t. So I can combine my t's right away. Those are my like terms. 15t minus 6t gives me 9t. Now if I take a look at my next ones, I have a negative or a minus negative 9r. So I can take those because they're in a row and make it a plus. Plus 9r, and combine that with 7r. 9 plus 7 gives me 16, so I'm going to do plus 16r. So my new expression is 9t plus 16r. Last one on here, we have 4y plus y minus 6y minus 10. I see a y there, a y there, and a y there. So I can combine all of these. 4y plus y, remember that's a 1y, so 4y plus 1. That gives me 5y. Now I'm going to take this 5y and combine it with negative 6y. So 5 minus 6y gives me a negative 1y. And then the negative 10 is all alone. It doesn't have a partner or a like term. So it's negative 1y minus 10. Alright, so now I am writing and simplifying an expression for the perimeter. Now the perimeter, if you remember, means we're going to add all the sides. Now what we have are these shapes, and they're rectangles. What we know about rectangles is that the opposite sides are equal. So if we know that this side is h, the opposite side is over here, and that's equal, so we also have an h. Here we have 4h. The opposite side is here, which is also 4h, because they're equal. So now we're going to add all these sides. We have h plus 4h plus h, or plus 4h, I guess we have another one of those, plus h. So we have a lot of h's. We have a lot of like terms. So what we can do is we can combine these. We can make all of this into one. So if we have h, that's like saying 1h. So I can put a 1 in front of both of those. 1h plus 4h, that gives me 5h. If I combine these two, 4h plus 1h, that gives me another 5h. Now I still have my h's, so I can combine these two. 5h plus 5h gives me 10h. So we simplified this entire equation into one term, 10h. That would give us the same thing as that would give us the same perimeter as if we did this entire thing here. Now here we have another one that's a little bit different. We still have a rectangle, so we know that the opposite sides are equal. So here's 2m, that means that this side is going to be 2m as well. This side is m plus 3, so we know that this side is going to be m plus 3. Now we're going to add in some constants, or numbers that don't change, numbers without variables. So we have m plus 3 plus 2m plus m plus 3 plus 2m. So what I'm looking for now are like terms. So I gotta look for all my m's. Remember, if there's anything alone, we can put a 1 in front of it. I can put 2 1s there. 1m plus 2m gives me 3m. 1m plus 2m gives me 3m. Now I'm looking to see if I have any other like terms. Well, I see that I have 2 3's. So I can take those and I can combine them. And 3 plus 3, that's 6. So now I have 3m plus 6 plus 3m. There's one more term that I can combine, these two 3m's. 3 plus 3, that's 6. So 6m plus 6. So that equals the same thing as this entire equation. That is our perimeter. Alright, that's it for today.